Hey everyone, Jennifer Lee Chan here from NBC Sports Bay Area. There's a lot of world news going on right now, and I've been kind of glued to the TV, as I'm sure a lot of you have. But thought I'd take a break and the last video I posted talking about way too early roster predictions. I spoke about Trent Williams and how he wasn't on the 53 man initial roster, and it made me kind of think about it and take a look at what happened around the time of that initial 53 man decision. And it's funny because it's been less than a year, and all of the things surrounding training camp in 2024 were so chaotic, with Trent Williams holding out, with not reporting, with Christian McCaffrey being a little bit injured and not really practicing. Also, him holding out of OTAs and mini camp. And then Brandon Ayuk, obviously, his hold in. So it made me look back, and I went through all the transactions about right about when the 53 man happens. And I remember it being chaotic, but it was completely chaotic for once. The whole reason I started diving down this whole thing, this rabbit hole, Trent Williams. So Trent Williams on July 25th, the 49ers put him on the reserve did not report list. So because he was holding out for more money, which it appears that he's not going to this year. Now, the only guaranteed money he has is for 2025. Last year, he only had guaranteed money for 2024, and he made them guarantee 25 as well. So now we're at the end of that with the 2025 season being guaranteed. He is not asking for more yet. But I think doing that multiple years in a row, I think, showing up in good faith, and I think understanding that a lot of money had to go to Brock Purdy, Fred Warner, George Kittle. They're really trying to maintain their core of players. So I think that's why Trent Williams isn't asking for more, although, he has every right to. He is only guaranteed money through 2025. So that being said, July 25th, they put him on the reserve did not report list. He did not get activated to the roster until September 9th. So September 9th, Trent Williams was activated to the active roster. So he missed the whole because he was on that did not report reserve list. He is not part of the 53 man cut down drama at all. There were so many transactions, and I'm kind of going through all of them. August is crazy. They're going through all the preseason games. They're going through joint practices. A lot of players that really didn't play at all. Maybe even like they were on the 90 man for a few minutes. And then, we're gone. It's fascinating. July 24th, they placed Drake Greenlaw, Talanoa Hufanga, and Drake Jackson on the PUP, active, physically unable to perform list. Later, Drake Greenlaw was still on it. Talanoa Hufanga was activated off of it. So there's going to be a lot of, I think, roster finessing that they're going to try and do when it comes down to it, because there are a lot of guys that I think they're really not sure. And, it could play out in training camp where guys prove themselves, or maybe someone gets hurt, so they're out of the running, and then someone else is in the running. So it's fascinating. But I did look back at who they released right at cut down day. And there's a lot of players that they brought immediately back. And I'm sure that when they do this, they're like, okay, we're going to release you today. Tomorrow we'll sign you back to a 1-year deal, because they can add people to the practice squad, or, hey, this guy is going to go on IR. We have to have him on the 53. We'll make the move tomorrow, but just hang on. We'll sign you tomorrow. You're not on a team for a day. So guys that were released on that day that ended up back on the team very quickly: Ben Barch, Eric Saubert. I had totally forgotten that they brought Eric Saubert in as a free agent, and he was doing all this work with George Kittle, and then they released him. Obviously, he was signed the next day. Trent Taylor, Logan Thomas, and Rock Ya-Sin. So those are guys that were released on cut down day that were kind of like a surprise, but then they brought them back. Guys that were waived that ended up back on the team very quickly. A lot of them went to the practice squad, but then they're now on the roster. So, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean if guys are waived, then, and that's if you have less than 3 years of NFL um, experience. So these are the young guys. So it's Evan Anderson. He was brought back, ended up, now he's on the roster again. Isaac Alarcon, Jalen Graham. These guys are, still on the team. They're on the 90 man now and they're practicing. Excuse me. Offensive lineman Sebastian Gutierrez, Jalen Mahoney, quarterback Tanner Mordecai. Now he's the third. Mason Pline, tight end, Braden Willis, tight end. Guys like Alex Barrett, who has kind of been one of those steady guys that has always been on the roster, and Danny Gray, who obviously was released a little bit later. But those guys were waived, and then a lot of them were brought back onto the practice squad. Now, the practice squad signed the next day. These are the guys, and so many of them are on the team. And, the 49ers, I know if there were some guys, obviously, that got picked up by other teams, and this is the risk that they take. So they have to be kind of judicious when they release guys, waive them, and then try to sign them back on the practice squad. Sometimes they're poached. There was a guy, let me see, where is it? That I was like, oh, that probably was the guy that you probably should have kept. And then he was signed by another team. And it was, where is it? But I'll find it. But it's like the strategy that is involved in trying to keep guys when they want to, and then the ones that get snapped up by other teams. I'll get it in a sec. But so guys that they had back on the practice squad, again, Isaac Alarcon, offensive lineman, defensive lineman Evan Anderson, who probably will make the 53, I would think, this year. Defensive lineman Alex Barrett, defensive lineman Jonathan Garvin, offensive lineman Sebastian Gutierrez, cornerback Chase Lucas, still on the team, has been making good plays during minicamp. Cornerback Chase Lucas, safety Jalen Mahoney, wide receiver Tay Martin, defensive lineman T.Y. McGill, who was on the team for several seasons, quarterback Tanner Mordecai, offensive lineman Drake Nugent, tight end Mason Pline, wide receiver Trent Taylor, safety Tracy Walker, and tight end Braden Willis. The following day, they put John Feliciano and Ambry Thomas on injured reserve. And then they signed Ben Barch, Eric Saubert, and Rock Yassin to 1-year deals. And then, that was all 8/27 was roster cut down day. Brandon Ayuk did not sign until August 30th. Pretty crazy. And then Christian McCaffrey went on IR September 14th. There was a whole bunch of craziness that happened kind of at the beginning, right in that time. And I had forgotten how much, how crazy it was. And man, it was a lot back then. So we'll probably see that type of finessing and finagling, I think, a lot at several different positions. But this is just a note to kind of like, when you see the 53, yes, there's going to be all these camp battles. There are going to be a lot of kind of strategy things, strategy cuts, strategy placing on IR, maybe PUP, and that'll be with, guys who are injured, like Malik Mustafa and, Curtis Robinson, Brandon Ayuk, so those guys that are injured, it'll be Curtis Rourke. Those guys are going to be placed on IR. They'll be brought back later, but it's just, it's a crazy game that the 49ers had to play with roster cuts. So, really kind of fascinating stuff that has to happen. Here it goes. Running back Cody Schrader. I thought he was a guy that probably undrafted free agent was, he looked good during camp, looked good during mini camp, and then was released and got picked up by the Rams, I think, right? So interesting stuff that happens. I think that it'll be fun to watch how these guys compete and, see who wins the spots in training camp. But until then, we've got a lot of time off, and I will head to Nashville on Monday. Hopefully, Luke Farrell will be there, so we'll get our chance to talk to him. And we haven't spoken to him yet, but I'll be heading to Nashville for Tight Ends University at Vanderbilt. And George Kittle, I'm sure Ross Dwelly will be there, I would think. He normally goes, but it'll be Travis Kelsey, Greg Olson. They do all the workshops. They'll be on the field only for one day, but they have a lot of fun activities planned for those guys. I'll definitely be there for the day on the field. And stay tuned. Follow me on Instagram and also here on YouTube. I'll post some shorts, videos about what Tight Ends University is like. All right. Hope you all are well. If there's anything you want me to cover during this time off, anything you want me to do a deep dive into, please let me know. Entertaining all requests. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye. Stay safe out there too.